my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, hello, my name is Loey. So today I'm going to be reading some of you guys' scary stories that you've sent to my email, LoeyLaneStorytime@gmail.com. But before we get into that, I want to thank CVS Beauty for sponsoring a portion of today's video. The CVS Beauty Epic Beauty event runs from August 26th until September 26th. And this Epic Beauty event only happens 2 times a year, so now is definitely the time to try out some new fun beauty products. I actually got ready today using just some of the products that you will find on sale during the Epic Beauty event, and I had so much fun doing my makeup, trying out new products, kind of repurchasing some old faves, doing something new and fun and fresh in terms of like the white freckles. I thought they were very like kind of summery and different. You can check out all of these products in the description box down below, and one of the coolest parts about this event is that you get a $10 gift card when you spend $25 on select beauty products. This event includes cosmetics, skincare, hair care, hair tools, accessories, and even some wellness items. So if you guys want to shop the CVS Epic Beauty event, I highly encourage you to, and let me know what you pick up. Thanks to CVS Beauty for sponsoring this part of the video. And let's get into some of you guys' scary stories. This first story involves Randonautica, which I know is something we're all so interested in right now. This story comes from PJ, who put in the subject line, Randonautica, haunting, and stalking. So immediately, I was hooked. So about 2 weeks ago, late July I believe, I had watched hours worth of Randonautica TikToks that day. So of course, me being obsessed with paranormal things, I decided to go randonauting. I live in Arizona, so of course it's known for ghost towns, and in Jerome there's an extremely haunted hotel. Anyway, I set my intention as creature because I hadn't seen anyone do it yet. My mom decided to do it with me because she thought it was cool, but she told me to be really careful and quiet because obviously Randonautica is a really scary thing to be messing with. When we got to our destination, it was at a lake that we go to a lot. The least you could find here was a dead body sunk in the water. But when we started walking to our coordinates, there was a little area in between trees and rocks. I've never been there before, didn't even know it existed. So we walked in and we found a suitcase about the same size as the one from that one really popular TikTok you've talked about on your channel. So since I saw that suitcase TikTok, I was really scared because they thought it was exactly what had happened in that video. But no, my mom decided to open it up because I got scared. And there was some nasty looking animal thing inside. It looked like a dog. It was completely hairless, but it had what looked like a beak and red eyes just like a tree frog's. We got scared, ran out, drove home, never told anybody about what we found. A couple days later, I started noticing weird things happening in the house. I tend to go into the kitchen around 12 to 1 a.m. to go get snacks, even though I'm pretty freaked out in the dark. I would hear like a faint whistling, like whistling a person makes with their mouth. And I'd also notice that things were knocked off the shelves. And if I got lucky, I'd see a cabinet or the pantry door moving by itself. I told my mom, she said to ignore it. She doesn't believe in ghosts. So I stopped going out to get snacks because I was scared out of my mind. The AC kicked on and I've tried for 20 minutes to make it turn off, but it won't turn off, so I'm sorry if you guys hear any background noise. What got me even more scared, to even be inside my own house, was that I'd hear knocking on my windows. I'd get super creepy messages from multiple accounts that were usually along the lines of, let me in. So I told my mom and she said to give it a few more days. If I kept experiencing weird things, we'd go stay somewhere else or call the cops. But that didn't help at all, and I even started getting death threats. I'd see rocks hit my windows, so it was obvious that I was being stalked. Told my mom, we stayed at a hotel for a few nights, told the cops, but they didn't do anything to help. So my grandparents let us stay in their guest bedroom. Keep in mind, what makes this whole thing scarier is that my mom and I never told anybody that we went randonauting. So it looks like they went randonauting, found a bizarre creature in a suitcase, and then she ended up being haunted and stalked after this. Super weird. Randonautica gets weirder and weirder by the day, y'all. My next email is from Jade, who said, I just want to know if anyone knows what's going on, or if they have any idea what my story could mean. This means a lot if you're reading it. Thank you. And of course, Jade, hopefully we can give you a couple of answers in your story. My name is Jade, and this is one of the many creepy things I've experienced throughout my lifetime. This is by far one of the creepiest. Ever since I was little, I've had trouble with panic attacks at exactly 3 a.m. every night. It happens for a month or two each year, but this past year it's been happening frequently. Although 2 years ago, when I'd wake up and have these panic attacks, I would start seeing a tall figure approaching me from my bedroom door. It had the body of a man with lots of scars and marks, but the head of a deformed rabbit mask of some sort, and it felt like he would hover above my chest and choke me. One night, I was on a call with my ex, and it happened. I couldn't hear my ex talking to me. I only heard this demonic voice telling me to say its name, but I didn't know its name, and the creature choked me. I felt cold and terrified. When I came out of the episode, my ex asked if anyone was in the room with me. I said no, and he said, I heard someone talking while you were choking. I asked what it sounded like, and all my ex said was it didn't sound human. It was a low, raspy, and demonic voice that kept saying, say my name. I drew a picture 2 years ago from the memory of the figure I usually see. I decided to call it Nightmare Nobody. The picture is attached below, and then Jade attaches this image of what she saw. It sounds like sleep paralysis of some sort, but certainly like a haunting added into that, because she was awake talking to her ex, and the creature basically started attacking her before she was even asleep. It's actually like really creepy as I'm looking at this photo to even imagine this thing hovering over you and attacking you. So I'm so sorry, Jade, that you've been going through this. I really hope that maybe you guys can give some answers down below. Let Jade know what you think she might be dealing with. In my opinion, it certainly sounds demonic, especially if it's trying to get you to say its name. So I would recommend cleansing the space using your preferred method of cleansing and letting anything around you know that if it is not of the highest light, love, and good in the world, it needs to leave. It is not welcome there. The last story I want to read you guys tonight is from Lisa, who very kindly has sent me this email a couple of times and bumped it up to the top of my email inbox tonight. I'm always so thankful when you guys share your stories with me, and if it's been a while since I've read it, feel free to send it again. Sometimes it's hard to get through all of them. Lisa says, so I have 3 best friends, and they all have sensed the presence of an old man in my basement storage room when we were younger. I wouldn't think it was weird if it was just one person, but the fact that it was all 3 of them and they were kind of saying it was an old man was weird, you know? Anyway, so this has been going on for a while, but eventually they stopped mentioning it because I think they just kind of wanted to forget about him. So one day in 2017, my friend Alyssa brought her laptop to my birthday party that year. We were on Omegle for some reason. I don't know why, honestly. And the camera was pointing towards the storage room door, which was slightly open. We were talking to this guy, just having a normal conversation, when all of a sudden he typed something like, "Is that your dad behind you?" Me and Alyssa look at each other because my dad was upstairs. We typed back, "No." And the guy was a little weirded out, but we just kept talking for a little bit until he lost connection somehow. Anyway, that was really weird because now someone who wasn't part of my friend group has seen this old man too. And it must have been an old man because he asked if it was my dad. So he had to have looked old somehow. I remember that story 3 years later because it was so weird to me. Okay, that's my story, bye. I love hanging out with you guys and reading the stories. You know what, I'm gonna do one more. Okay, last one I swear is from Tony. He says that he is 19 now, but the story begins when he was about 2 or 3. For whatever reason, I can remember my childhood very, very vividly. I can almost recall every memory up to, but not including, my birth. My mother was never like this, nor were my brothers or anyone else related to me. As I am aware, I am the only one in my family with memories that stem so early from my life. Most were pretty traumatic because I didn't really have that great of a start at life. I'm sorry, and I'm very proud of you. I'm very thankful you're here. So perhaps the trauma is what made my memories so good, but I digress. There was, however, one thing that always remained a constant up until I got into middle school. There was always a figure in my peripheral vision. I remember very clearly always just missing a glimpse of whatever this figure was. My reason for bringing up my memory is because I've remembered seeing this since I was about 3, which, funnily enough, was one of the biggest years of my life, considering my mother packed up me and my 2 older brothers to move across the country to get away from my father. When we were getting settled into our home, we all slept in the living room on a large air mattress, since we really didn't have anything for the house at all. It was our first week in the house, and that really escalated the emotions I felt when seeing whatever this thing was. I just turned 4 at this point, and late night, in my toddler stupor, I woke up wanting water. My brothers and I were very independent kids because our mom was always very busy with work, so I wasn't too worried about waking someone up to get me a glass of water. We had a step stool, we had cups, and the kitchen was right next to the living room we were staying in. I decided to get up and get my own cup of water so that I didn't have to wake my mother. This was a mistake that would haunt me for 10 more years. Our kitchen is what I call a small parallel kitchen. I say that because it was small, and the oven was parallel to the sink, and the fridge parallel to the cupboard. It looks as if someone took a bigger kitchen and folded it into a book. Needless to say, there was not a lot of space, which meant there was little room to miss a person walking past you, as there was only one way to get in and out of the kitchen as well. Now, as I stepped off the stool and turned my back to leave the kitchen, I suddenly stopped and stood there in that walkway frozen. I felt very intensely that there was a person behind me. To this day, I don't know how 4-year-old me got up the courage to turn around and face that thing. I would never be able to do that now, but he did, and looked up at a black mass of a figure with no discernible traits except the bright red eyes and the hood that hid the shape of its face. In that moment, I remember I wasn't scared at all, and I was more confused, if anything. So I stood there for a few seconds just looking back at it, while it stared right back. I then turned around and back again to see if it would be there, and of course, you can imagine it wasn't. I then went to my mother and tried to wake her and tell her what I saw, but she said I was just seeing things, as most parents might tell a sleepy kid that got up for water. The issue with this was that I continued to see this thing everywhere. I would see it while we drove, I would see it when I was at daycare, and then eventually it followed me throughout elementary school. During this phase of my life, I was also very badly behaved, and looking back, I don't know why I changed so suddenly after getting into middle school. The thing is, I didn't see it after I got into middle school. I did a complete 180 and was really good in class, got good grades, and was well behaved. I'm not blaming my bad behavior on a paranormal entity, but it has always freaked me out how drastically my life changed when I stopped seeing this creature. I do believe it was a creature as well. It looked humanoid, but it didn't feel human at all, if that makes sense. To this day, I am very jumpy and startled easily. I have good instincts when it comes to people staring at me or standing behind me. I'm also hyper aware of any shadows that cross my path, that I cast or see in general. I haven't seen this thing in 6 years, and soon it will be coming up on 7. I have no explanation for this, and I've never told my family. I certainly think that kids are more susceptible to like paranormal entities and beings than most adults would be, or anyone who kind of has like a spiritual ego up. So it totally makes sense why this thing would have affected him so very much. It is crazy, but unsurprising, I think, that his life changed so much for the better when he stopped seeing the monster, this demon, this shadow figure, because it almost sounded like it was like taking from him, like literally taking energy, taking his happiness, like intentionally trying to scare him in the night. Speaking of night, I'm actually very tired as I am filming this video, so I am going to stop here. Thank you guys very much for sending these stories and hanging out with me. I definitely want to do more videos like this. I love reading you guys' scary stories, so thanks again for sending them in. I love you all very, very much. If you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.